Let's talk about the WNBA and the league's demise now that Caitlin Clark is no longer going to play this season. The WNBA and the Indiana Fever, Stephanie White, Amber Cox, all the way up and including, let's just keep it real, Kathy Engelbert, Adam Silver, the National Basketball Association, everybody that participated in the farce.
Caitlin Clark's season is officially over, and the WNBA only has itself to blame. What started with a quad strain in May spiraled into groin injuries in June and July, and finally a bone bruise in August. Her body kept breaking down, and now the league's biggest star is sidelined for the remainder of the year. This isn't just a personal tragedy for Clark. It's a disaster for the entire WNBA, fueled by lousy officiating, poor communication, and constant physical targeting of one player. Fans are furious, demanding answers, refunds, and even threatening boycotts, while the league's response has been silence at best. How did the WNBA let its most important player collapse after just 13 games? Time and time again,
Caitlin Clark out for the remainder of the 2025 season, something we all think we knew was coming after what Stephanie White said earlier today. We couldn't be too sure until we see it for ourselves. And with this announcement from the GOAT's mouth herself, Caitlin Clark won't be returning this season, nor if the Indiana Fever make the playoffs.
we saw Clark shoved into screens, grabbed by the jersey, or knocked off balance without a whistle. It wasn't just one team playing overly physical. It was the entire league taking liberties with the face of women's basketball. Even the Washington Post documented how refs swallowed their whistles while Clark absorbed cheap shots possession after possession. This pattern started back in her rookie season, when she drew 20% of all flagrant fouls in the league, many from Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky. And those hits were often celebrated rather than punished. Any other workplace, people would call it assault.
Well, it all started last year, in her rookie season, where she received 20% of all the flagrant fouls in the league. And most of them came from Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky. And these weren't basketball plays. They were not only fouling her, but they were getting up, laughing about it, laughing about Caitlin Clark getting assaulted. Any other work environment, people go to jail for what's going on.
Yet in the WNBA, the league's biggest draw was left unprotected. Instead of being treated like the investment she was, Clark was battered night after night. Networks paid record money to broadcast her games. Fans packed arenas from Dallas to New York. But referees refused to give her even the basic protection that every star in every other league gets. And the toll of that neglect showed. Her quad tightened in May. Her groin injury worsened in June, and by July it had turned into a tear that ultimately ended her season. These weren't freak accidents. They were the predictable results of constant hits.
With us, I say this every day, and every day I got to deal with somebody else dumb in the media. Caitlin Clark's game resonates because she's got flair, she's got flash, she's got style. I said this before, and I'll say this again. We saw Sue Bird's game. We saw Diana Taurasi's game. Kim Mulkey was Sue Bird before Sue Bird became Sue Bird. We've seen it. We haven't seen Caitlin Clark.
Twisted pivots and unprotected landings. The Fever and the WNBA had every warning sign in front of them, yet they pushed Clark through it all. She was forced to play because the alternative meant empty arenas and lost revenue. Reports even showed she was listed as day-to-day multiple times, a label that sounded reassuring to fans, but really meant she was taping up injuries and limping back onto the floor. The truth is, she never had a chance to fully heal. Indiana Fever GM Amber Cox admitted that despite Clark's efforts in the gym...
And last year, I noticed how much it was just Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark was taking all the hits. Caitlin Clark was taking all the abuse. But this year they've added Sophie Cunningham. She gets more flagrant fouls on her than anybody in the league besides Caitlin Clark. And Aaliyah Boston, she's been taking hits as well. But the worst thing is the consistency. So they don't call flagrant fouls, or most of the time, Caitlin Clark could be held for an entire game at a time. They don't call fouls. They don't call common fouls.
Every single day. There just wasn't enough time left for her to safely return this season. Clark herself released a statement saying she was devastated but thankful for the fans who stood by her. Still, the damage was already done. The league prioritized revenue over her health, and the result was the collapse of not only her season, but the WNBA's momentum as a whole. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's response only deepened the backlash. Rather than taking accountability for
the folks that cover the NBA, these people that play in the NBA, these people that cover the NBA, there I said these people, all of you, black, white, green, purple, why don't you understand a very simple thing? Her game is dynamic. Like Diana Taurasi was like a jackass to Caitlin Clark. Why? Her game is what people are drawn to. And then you go to the personality. Her game is different than any WNBA woman ever. And she wins, and she shoots from deep. It's no different than Steph Curry. How many times we got to say?
The officiating failures and lack of player protection. Her statements sounded sanitized, full of PR language about growth and expansion. Fans who had invested their money and hopes into this season felt betrayed. Instead of hearing how the league would fix its problems, they heard the same recycled talking points about revenue streams. The fallout was immediate. All-Star tickets that once cost over $200 dropped to around $60 overnight. Resale sites flooded with people dumping seats. Attendance plummeted in every city Clark wasn't playing in. Television ratings dipped sharply, and sponsors who had signed up for the Clark effect suddenly saw their investment evaporate. The trust between the league and its fans collapsed right alongside Clark's season. And the anger wasn't just about the injury. It was about the lack of transparency. Fans were strung along for weeks with constant updates of probable or day-to-day, when in reality, the Fever and the league knew.
I mean, it's a gut punch that basically encompasses an entire season of them. The Fever have lost so many players to injury, but obviously none bigger than Clark. And there was such a wait for this second season after her magnificent rookie season. And then, you know, the anticipation of her possibly coming back, only for that not to happen, takes a lot of air out of the room, obviously takes a lot of energy out of the fans, and is a devastating blow for not just the Fever and the WNBA.
What's from her season was slipping away. That sense of betrayal is why boycott calls are spreading. It's why playoff games may be played in half-empty arenas. The WNBA built its biggest year of growth on Caitlin Clark's back. But when the time came to protect her, they failed. And in doing so, they broke the trust of the very fans keeping them alive. Clark will come back stronger in 2026, but the question remains, will the league learn from this? Or will they continue to sacrifice players' safety for short-term profits? Played in half-empty arenas. The WNBA built its biggest year of growth on Caitlin Clark's back. But when the time came to protect her, they failed. And in doing so, they broke the trust of the very fans keeping them alive. Clark will come back stronger in 2026, but the question remains, will the league learn from this? Or will they continue to sacrifice?
Still, the Fever aren't done. Kelsey Mitchell is competing every night, Aaliyah Boston's leadership is growing, Lexi Hull keeps grinding, and don't forget, Clark will come back stronger in 2026. Let us know down in the comments below if you think the WNBA is to blame for this mess. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.